Welcome, party people. It's Strobe Quintarian, and we are less than 1 week away from the debut of Arc System's work and Aiding's new fighting game, DNF Duel. For those who are unaware, DNF Duel is a 2.5-dimensional fighting game that is inspired from the Korean video game Dungeons & Fighters, or Dungeon Fighter Online, commonly referred to as DFO. DFO is a free-to-play, fast-paced, unique side-scrolling 2D action anime MMORPG that showcases dazzling hit effects, complex combos, with various classes of characters to choose from. These characters are the classes that are the basis of each of the selectable characters in the game DNF Duel. At launch, we are looking to have 15 playable characters and a possible unlockable character of the Lost Warrior, who many believe to be the final boss of the game. DNF Duel has dropped numerous but extremely short videos on its YouTube channel, which I've linked in the description below. This video will give you an overview of everything we know thus far going into the launch of the game on June 28th for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Steam. So let's get ready for some action. Arc System Works has been known for its amazing anime-style fighting games that look absolutely fantastic, and from the 2 betas and the trailers we've had access to thus far, visually it does not disappoint. DNF Duel has confirmed the following 16 characters. BERSERKER, an easy-to-use, highly aggressive aerial-to-ground fighter. Inquisitor, a fighter designed on shutting down and restricting your opponent. Striker, an easy-to-use, close-range, fast-paced fighter that overwhelms the opponent with offense. Grappler, a character that specializes in throws and is beginner-friendly, although I've never found grapplers to be a beginner-friendly class in fighting games. Ranger, a gun-slinging, long-range zoning character who uses revolvers and can use grenades to extend combos and set traps. Hitman, a character that utilizes an SMG and sword with multi-hitting moves and combos. Dragon Knight, a versatile character with aerial movement options and rushdown zoning capabilities. Vanguard, a long-range character capable of controlling most of the screen with big moves using his staff weapon. Crusader, the man of God with the giant bod, a mid-range monster able to create walls and buff himself mid-fight. Kunoichi, a highly mobile ninja that uses teleportation, double jumps, and fire control. Ghostblade, a man who controls the spirit and perform multiple attacks in a row using ghost attacks, although his attacks do very low damage. Now, the remaining characters were not in the betas, and we know very little about their gameplay thus far. Launcher, who uses an insane assortment of guns, missiles, cannons, and bombs. Enchantress, this little elf girl, or demon girl, it seems to be a puppeteer who uses magic, a broom, and controls the world's deadliest teddy bear. Swiftmaster, another elven character who seems to be very mobile and uses wind attacks against his opponents. Troubleshooter, a shotgun and sword character who is as cool as he is deadly, using large shotgun area attacks and bomb traps. And, as mentioned before, the Lost Warrior, which looks like he might be half man, half Marlboro. You know, that ugly green monster from Final Fantasy with all the eyeballs. Well, this thing. Each of these characters represents a class or subclass of characters from the DFO game. An example is how Berserker and Ghostblade are both subclasses of the Slayer class. The exception being the Lost Warrior, which I thought was possibly a created character specifically for this game, much like Android 21 was for Dragon Ball FighterZ. But from a video by Cookie Jar Shenanigans, I found out that this character indeed is in DFO, but not much is known about him without giving away spoilers. I've linked his video also in the description below. The game modes of DNF Duel will feature online mode, which consists of ranked matches and ranking system, though I highly believe they will also have some sort of casual mode where you'll be able to battle against a friend or another online opponent without needing to worry about gaining or losing points. During the 2 beta tests, there was also a lobby mode that was used and has been utilized in other Arc System games in the past in some way or another. Exactly how this will be done at this time is unknown, but I would be very surprised if there wasn't another way to play against an online opponent other than ranked matches. Offline mode, called local mode, will consist of free battle. Think of this as your versus mode. I can imagine that they'll have the options of a player versus player, player versus computer, and you can probably even pick a computer versus computer player. Arcade mode will allow you to battle the computer-controlled opponent until you face the end boss. Survival mode is going to be where you will battle for as long as possible, utilizing points to restore health and get buffs until your character is finally knocked out. And the story mode. Now, the story mode in DNF Duel looks like it has very detailed panels of art along with voice acting. Now, whether these stories will be interactive or not is unknown. Guilty Gear, a popular series by Arc System Works, their story modes don't have any gameplay associated with the story mode, but Dragon Ball FighterZ story mode was completely a playable game mode. I hope that we'll get something more like Dragon Ball FighterZ instead of Guilty Gear when it comes to the game's story mode. Now, my prediction for story mode is this, that each character will have their own unique story mode in the game, but it's not going to be a large-scale story mode that's interweaving between each of the different characters like you see in Mortal Kombat or in Injustice. Practice mode will feature a training mode and a tutorial mode. During training mode, players can practice their bread and butter combos, and lab monsters can figure out some new techniques. Tutorial mode will introduce players to the background of the characters, their attributes, and even have some combo trials for a player to complete. This will give players a better idea on how to use their characters in battle. And finally, collection mode is designed for players to customize their profile card, which will display their selected character art, their ranking status, and more. It will allow them to pick the avatar which they might be able to use in the lobby system, gallery to see the artwork and possible cutscenes from the game, a glossary to explain terms to those not familiar with the DFO world, and finally, a replay library where players can rewatch their favorite matches. Gameplay controls will feature an A and B attack. These are your normal attack buttons, a skill button, and a magic skill button. The A, B, and skill buttons can be done at any time without needing to draw from any resource. Other buttons that can be mapped to a single button are the block button, the awakened skill, attack, which is your super, throw, and conversion. And we'll talk about conversion a little bit more later. The magic skill button, however, does take resources in magic points, or MP, which is the gauge below the life bar that has a number next to it in the heads-up display. At the start of each round, both players start with the MP gauge filled to 100. As players take damage, the cap of the magic gauge increases until it peaks at 200 points. Now, this game is very unique in that it allows magic attack move to cancel into another magic attack move as long as your character has magic points to spend. Once exhausted, the player must wait for the magic gauge to fill before they're able to use another magic attack. Now, the MP gauge can fill up on its own as long as the player doesn't attempt to use MP, or they can use their white health to change the potential health into MP via conversion. Now, what is white health? White health is lost health that can be regained over time as long as no further damage is taken. Now, with conversion, this can also cancel any animation that the character is currently in to allow them to return to a neutral state. This allows for unsafe moves to become safe or can extend a combo that normally couldn't be done otherwise. Another characteristic of the control scheme is that inputs for the majority of magic-based special moves can be done in one of two ways. First, by either pushing a direction and the MP button, or two, with a motion input and the MP button. Now, as seen here in Berserker's move list, on the right side you can see that there are two inputs for the same move. If you look at Berserker's reversal move called Raging Fury, you can see that you can either press down an MP or do the DP motion or a Z motion and MP. During beta test, the difference between doing these two different inputs were that if you use the motion input or the more difficult version, you would recover your MP a bit quicker than if you just used the directional input. Now, each character also has unique attributes that kick in when their health is in critical, which I would say is probably about 20% health or less. And this is when they also gain access to their attribute skill attack, remember, this being their super attack. Other mechanics that are in the game are guard break. In this video, it shows the cost to be 100 MP, but I remember during the second beta that the cost seemed to be reduced to about 50 MP. This acts like an alpha counter if you're familiar with the Street Fighter Alpha series, allowing players to knock an opponent away while they're in a block state. You also have access to a dodge, which will allow you as the player to switch sides or to even phase through projectiles. Though it did have a pretty lengthy recovery, and you have to be careful or else you could be punished for trying to use it. And there's air and ground tech rolls which occurred automatically. Now, this is something that I didn't really like about the game, and I hope that it actually changes, because allowing players to control when their character will recover is a lot better, because otherwise melee attacks will become too strong due to players knowing exactly when a character will come out of recovery every single time. Now, with the default settings, a standard game will be the first player to win 2 rounds will actually win the match. And that is what we know right now. DNF Duel has been releasing trailers pretty rapidly, so there still might be more information to come prior to its release. What do you think of DNF Duel? Is this a game that you're looking forward to playing? What character or characters are you looking forward to play as? Leave your comments below, as I'm curious to see who most people will want to play. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and share. This is Strobe Kentari, and I'll catch you donkeys next time.